A guy is so pissed off that a sex-crazed Jennifer Aniston keeps hitting on him that he decides, I have no choice but to kill Jennifer Aniston. Seriously.
Hello Internet. Sorry this video is so late. Basically I was working all weekend and I just didn't have enough free time to do it. And with what little free time I did have, I didn't have access to my computer for reasons that really aren't important. But I actually did manage to record the video on Friday, but when I sat down to look at the footage, it was just really, really bad and completely unusable, so I had to reshoot it. And then I watched Destination X, and then I actually sat down to edit it after that. And now the video is completely dated, but that's the way it goes. I really wanted to get this thing uploaded before Destination X, but I just didn't have the hours in the day to make it happen. So, enjoy this extremely belated review of the Destination X Go Home show, and hopefully I'll be more punctual with the next one. Jack Evans. Jack motherfucking Evans. Holy shit, that guy got over fast. And the crowd was going bonkers for him. Even Mike Tenay sounded excited. And if you've got a wrestler that can actually get the robot covered in human flesh that is Mike Tenay to show some honest-to-God emotion, then you hold on to that guy. Hot damn. This was my favorite X Division 3-way of the 4 that they've had this month, and honestly, this was the first one where I thought they could offer all 3 guys a contract and I wouldn't complain. And yeah, Jack Evans stood out the most, obviously, but those other 2 guys were really good too. I mean, that's the first time that happened. In the first one, there was Jimmy Rave, who's not bad in the ring, but he really didn't do anything in his last run in this company, and I can take or leave him. In the second match, there was Dakota Darso, who I thought was just a complete waste of time. In the third one, you had Matt Bentley, who was lazy and totally out of shape, but here, all 3 of them looked great. And if they wanted to give Nese and Sorensen another look, I'd be totally on board with that. But Jack Evans won, and that fatal 4-way at Destination X is going to be insane. I mean, the level of talent in that match, good lord. In fact, I hate to say this, but I almost kind of wish they could take Zema Ion out of the match. And that's not a criticism of him at all. He did a good job in his qualifier, but those other guys are just on a different level. And you got Austin Aries, Low Ki, Jack Evans, and then you got Zema Ion, who I've never heard of. And some people have corrected me on Twitter for not mentioning him when I talk about this match. Yeah, that's because I have no idea who he is. Not that he's untalented or anything, but I just don't see how you can go with him when you got those other 3 guys in there. But still, I absolutely expect that fatal 4-way at the pay-per-view to be unbelievable. I mean, that's the match I'm most looking forward to at Destination X, both due to the talent involved and because it probably had the most consistent build-up. And that brings us to the rest of this show. There were a good couple segments devoted to hyping Destination X, though not as many as I hoped there would be. Some of them were good, and some of them were not. Like the Fatal 4-Way, this was a terrific matchup. AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels, Rob Van Dam, and Jerry Lynn, this was great stuff. My only complaint about it is that the wrong guy won. I would have had Christopher Daniels get the pin on Van Dam to win the match because, let's face it, Daniels is probably going to lose this Sunday and Van Dam is almost surely going to win. Van Dam did not need to win this match. And honestly, I'm kind of surprised that the bloom hasn't come off the rose yet with management as far as Van Dam is concerned. His promos suck. He never looks like he really cares about what he's doing. And then there was the time they put the world title on him last year, and the very next show scored the lowest rating in Impact history. But enough about Mr. 0.5. Something bad was the Kendrick Abyss segment. First of all, I have no idea what Brian Kendrick is saying when he cuts promos, and judging by the crowd response, I don't think I'm alone in that. Second, you completely buried him here. Abyss destroys him, no-sells everything he does, totally lays him out. That doesn't sell this match. There's a big difference between making a guy look like an underdog and making him look like he's a scrub who has no chance whatsoever. Unfortunately, history has shown many times that Vince Russo really just doesn't understand this. So, I do expect it to be a good match at the pay-per-view, but it's probably the match I'm looking forward to the least. And sadly, second to least is the Ultimate X match, for 2 reasons. Number 1, it's a totally random match thrown together at the last minute. Number 2, it includes Robbie E for some ungodly reason. Robbie E, who should not even be on this pay-per-view. Robbie E, who damn near ruined the last Ultimate X match he was in. Now, they do have Alex Shelley, Amazing Red, and Shannon Moore in there, and that's fine. That's great. But can those 3 guys compensate for the fact that Robbie is probably going to stink up the place in there just like he did the last time you put him in a match like this? I don't know. And here's what I'm really worried about. This match is for the #1 contendership to the X Division title. Robbie is the only heel in this match. So if Brian Kendrick wins the title from Abyss, which I expect will happen, then there's a good chance that Robbie could win this one. And he's the only guy in that match who should not win, because he sucks. Shelley, Red, even Shannon Moore. Fine. Give it to any one of those guys, but not Robbie E. Please, not Robbie E. That's not going to lead to anything good, and you know it. For all the proof you need, just look at his god-awful run as X Division champion last year. The rest of the show was kind of a mixed bag. Crimson and Bobby Roode had a good match in the Bound for Glory series. There was another one, a tag team match, which was not as good. Plus, the booking was really dumb in that one, too. It's James Storm and Matt Morgan versus the Pope and Devon. I have no idea what they're doing with Pope and Devon right now, nor do I really care. But you got Pope nail Storm with the belt shot, and then he just lets Devon get the pin? So Pope, who has 0 points in this thing so far, does not want to be the world champion? This weird fascination he has with Devon is more important to him than the World Heavyweight title? See, right there, you just completely undermined this entire series for the sake of a pretty minor storyline that's playing out on Explosion, a show that American audiences can't even watch.
Oh, what a bunch of bull.
And in my eyes, the only thing this really accomplished was making me really want the Pope to not win the Bound for Glory series. And Pope, man, how much have they dropped the ball with this guy in the last year? Good God. Then they had a Knockouts handicap match. It was Velvet Sky versus ODB and Jackie Moore, and it sucked. We got this instead of build-up for Joe versus Kaz.
You people are fools!
The stipulation was if Velvet wins, then ODB and Jackie have to leave TNA forever, or something like that. Velvet wins a pretty bad match, so presumably ODB and Jackie are gone now. They kind of hinted that ODB wasn't done yet, but I'm really hoping they're both gone. And I have no idea what the point of this was, other than giving Velvet Sky another crappy feud she doesn't need when the focus of the division should be on Mickie James. But as bad as that was, the worst part of this show by far was the Sting Hogan stuff. When they first started this Sting Joker thing, it was cool, because it was subtle. It wasn't over the top. But now, they are so blatantly ripping off the Joker from The Dark Knight, it's actually really kind of despicable. Plus, with the way Sting is hamming it up right now, it's like the Joker with the Dark Knight face paint, but played by Cesar Romero. It was cool in that first segment in Hogan's office a few weeks ago, but now it's just really fucking silly. And not only are they ripping off this character from the movie, they were actually ripping off scenes from the movie. That pre-tape where Hogan was beating Sting with a baseball bat, they lifted that right out of The Dark Knight. The interrogation room scene where the Joker's laughing his ass off as Batman beats the shit out of him, they just fucking stole that scene and copied it. Russo may be a bad writer most of the time, but as stupid as his stuff can be, at least most of it was original. But here, Russo is basically committing plagiarism.
This whole show violates everything about my journalistic integrity.
He's just blatantly stealing from Christopher Nolan, and he's making no bones about it. Fuck this gimmick, fuck this character, and fuck this stupid storyline. And then the show ended with Ken Anderson joining Immortal, which is what most of the show is built around. I don't like it, but Immortal needs at least one big star if they're going to be able to limp to Bound for Glory. Not that it's going to make much of a difference in the long run anyway, though. Immortal has gone through so many lineup changes in such a short amount of time. Guys who join the group and then turn against it, guys who join the group and then get kicked out of it, guys who join the group and then just disappear with no explanation, guys who are brought in to fight the group but then join it for lack of anything better to do. Nobody gives a shit about Immortal anymore. This faction is meaningless. And I really hate to say it, but the same thing kind of applies to Fortune. Talk about lost momentum. When was the last time Fortune appeared as a group on TV? I don't even remember. Does this faction even still exist? I think the last time I saw them all in the ring together at the same time was at Lockdown. And that pisses me off. Fortune are an awesome faction, and they just kind of vanished for no reason. What the fuck? Anyway, Anderson joining Immortal is what the show ended on. All things considered, they really should have ended on something hyping Destination X, because, as I said last week, this pay-per-view is a hard sell. The card is awesome, but there just hasn't been enough focus on it. The X Division has been treated like it doesn't matter for years. Then you spend 1 month treating it like it maybe kinda sorta matters a little bit, and you expect that to sell Destination X? The build-up to the Fatal 4-Way and AJ vs. Daniels was good, and RVD Jerry Lynn kind of sells itself, but Joe vs. Kaz feels like an afterthought in the promotion. The Ultimate X was just slapped together randomly with no hype at all. Brian Kendrick looks like a total chump in this match with Abyss. They didn't even announce all the matches either. Jen Me don't even know what they're doing for the show yet. Brian Kendrick said in an interview that there wasn't enough focus on it leading into this pay-per-view, and he was right. So the card is awesome, and I expect it to be a great show, but a lot of the build-up did these guys no favors. Nevertheless, it's time to put up or shut up, people. So many of us have been bitching and screaming for a very long time now about how TNA should stop pissing on the X Division. This Sunday, they've got their own pay-per-view. If you want this company to make the X Division relevant again, to treat it like it matters again, you need to order this show. You need to show them that this is what you want to see. I'm ordering Destination X, and I haven't bought any TNA pay-per-views in a long time. This is the first one that from top to bottom has really sparked my interest in well over a year. So if you care at all about the X Division, please order Destination X. If it gets a decent buy rate, who knows, we might see more pay-per-views like this. We might see the X Division start to mean something again. Yeah, that might be a pipe dream, but you know what? That's more than what we had before. See you afterward.